How has no one brought up the fact that Dwyane Wade was a very, very talented, incredible defensive player, and James Harden is a f***ing cone?
James Harden is an elite player. I know we hate James Harden, what he's doing off the court, but that man is actually a hooper.
This all comes down to getting better or greater.
There's a thing circulating around in town, and they're saying that James Harden is better than Dwyane Wade.
Listen, it's close. I looked at the stats too, and the stats don't always tell the bigger picture of it, but it's close. The main takeaway is the ring discourse, and I hate talking about rings. It matters here because Wade went to 3 finals. He's won 3 rings. Harden has 0. People will say, oh, Wade had Shaq. Wade had LeBron and Chris Bosh. Let's go through the teams that Harden had, that he's been on. Now, let's go to Thunder, where you had Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, a good Serge Ibaka before he got older. Kevin Durant twice with the Nets. Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, that big super team that absolutely fell apart. Let's talk about the Rockets with him and Chris Paul. Russell Westbrook was there for a year. And then you go to Philly, and he's got Joel Embiid, the reigning MVP. What has he done? Jack shit. While Dwyane Wade, with all these players that he's had, he's capitalized on them, and he's put on crazy performances. It wasn't just like LeBron carried him or Shaq carried him. He had probably one of the greatest finals performances we've ever seen when he was with Shaq, when he was a young guy in the league too. This was like his year 2 or 3. When LeBron was in town, like he was a key cog in that Miami Heat team. So to say that James Harden is better than Dwyane Wade, it's just the new kids seeing on TikTok, seeing James Harden, flashy passes, whatever, all that bullshit.
Damn you kids.
I have something to say, but I actually I wouldn't get too excited. Like, I completely agree with you. James Harden, the drama that's around him, the teammates that, it's never been confirmed. We don't actually know. We're not a part of the NBA, but it's like, is James Harden and Kyrie beefing? Is he beefing with Joel Embiid? Like, I don't know. Just that part too just irks me. So I'm Team DWade. I don't know.
Listen,
that's
is it a common denominator?
That's the Bleacher Report, the House of the Highlights trying to get there.
I don't know.
Not us, of course. But
they called Dwyane Wade the Flash for a reason.
The reason why I have a problem with it, because people act like it's just like James Harden is an elite player. I know we hate James Harden, what he's doing off the court and asking for trades and all that bullshit and partying with little baby. I know we hate him for that, but that man is actually a hooper. When we look at first team all selections, you know how many DWade got? 2 first team NBA selections. You know how many James Harden had?
6. But how many total teams did they have?
I don't care. I'm talking about first team.
Wade's got 8. Wade's got 8 all team.
I'm not saying that, but first team is more important, no?
How has no one brought up the fact that Dwyane Wade was a very, very talented, incredible defensive player, and James Harden is a fucking cone?
Yes.
Sorry. It's insane that we got this long into, and I was quiet. I was not saying anything. We got this long into it before anyone brought up.
We love
I'm going to sound like Jonah Hill in Moneyball. There's an epidemic within the game right now, and it's that no one gives a shit about defense. And it's because when you said they are saying that Dwyane Wade is not as good as James Harden. They is the TikTok generation who just like to see the highlights and sees James Harden do the shimmy, shake, step back 3. They don't give a shit that Dwyane Wade is locking dudes up.
When James Harden became James Harden, who did he play under? Mike D'Antoni.
Yeah.
Mike D'Antoni does not give a fuck about defense. So the part of that is Mike D'Antoni's fault. They don't even practice defense. And
it's a players league. If he went to D'Antoni and said, yo, I want to be a good defender, you think D'Antoni's going to say no?
Yes.
I disagree with that. I disagree with that. I just can't imagine that an NBA coach, if a player went to him and said, we got to get better defense, he'd say, nah, get out of here.
If you have a coach that doesn't practice defense, doesn't even think about that, all right, James Harden is going to be bad on defense. So that's not kind of his fault. And then it was the whole thing when James Harden got better at defense and like, oh, look, he's trying. And like,
you see, it's like we're looking at like a little kid playing Little League, except it's James Harden playing defense.
It was a different league back then. So like basically when like
back then,
yeah, because
relax. What you mean? D-Wade was playing with D-Wade played with James Harden.
My thing was with James Harden. I'm sorry, we're going crazy.
I love it.
My thing with James Harden is that he was that transitional era, right? When the game started to change and evolve more than it is today. Really, like you said, there's no defensive now, right? There's a straight offense. So like when James Harden came into that era, he kind of revolutionized it with Steph Curry. I know everybody likes to just talk about Steph Curry, but James Harden was one of those pieces that changed the game and how it's played today. Sure. So, I mean, you can hate defense, but nobody plays defense now. So who gives a fuck?
I disagree with that. Yeah, there's only been one team to win a championship since the Kobe Shaq Lakers to win a chip. that was in the bottom half of the league in defensive rating.
He has MVP, and Wade doesn't have.
Wade should have won an MVP.
But he doesn't.
MVP is a narrative-based award.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Valuable is the word. It's not who's the better player. James Harden was on the Rockets when they did not have fucking like anybody. They had some good players later in his tenure.
Perkins changed the narrative of Jokic getting an MVP this year because it was.
Don't get me started on Big Perk.
But I'm just saying MVP is important. We're not going to act like MVP is not important.
No, it's totally important. It's totally important.
So I'm just saying, like, if Wade is a better guard than him and never won MVP, I think that still should raise some type of eyebrow.
Would you rather have regular season MVP or finals MVP? If we're talking about greater, this all comes down to, again, better or greater. I don't know, but greater, I think finals MVP is more important.
So I want to bring this up.
You were the best player on the biggest stage.
Dwyane Wade should have won MVP in 2009. Like, he should have. Let's look at the stats. LeBron won it. Wade was a scoring champ. He averaged 30.2 points per game. LeBron 28.4. LeBron had 7.5 rebounds. Wade had 5, but Wade had 7.5 assists. LeBron had 7. Wade was averaging 2.2 steals per game. LeBron 1.7. And Wade had 1.3 blocks per game as a guard, shooting 49% from the field. He should have won that, but it was LeBron at age 24. It was narrative based.
What?
MVP that year. It was LeBron.
LeBron should have 10 MVPs, so I'm not going to take that one.
Like regular season MVP.
Of
that year.
Now what we doing?
Regular season MVP of that year. Wade should have won it.
What we doing?
What do you mean, what are we doing?
You saw. Bro.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
You have to give me high.
I don't think Harden should have won MVP the year he did. I think it was similar to what happened with Embiid, where it was kind of like a sympathy thing, and because he doesn't play both sides of the ball, Giannis should have won that year too.
It's called motherfucking bars right there. You don't know bars.
Defense, baby.
I like the defensive piece. Dennis Rodman's my favorite player, of all time. Besides LeBron, biggest LeBron fan, but so defense is huge for me.
What's your thoughts on the NBA today, like how it's played? Because obviously you watch the WNBA and you know it's like so skilled and like technical, like as far as that. Because Kobe once said that the women are more skilled than the men.
Oh yeah.
So seeing that and seeing how the NBA is played today, how do you feel about that?
I don't know. I mean, that's why I like the WNBA. And, I know a lot of college coaches, men's college coaches, that tell their teams to go watch WNBA just for the playmaking, the passing. So good. But, I mean, like, the NBA is a walking highlight reel right now. And like, it's the generation of highlight-based stuff. But I think we need some great rebounders, some more defensive people that can just dive for loose balls, like put their body on the line like Dennis Rodman did. So, I don't know. I miss that style of basketball, that chippiness.
Draymond said.
Come on.
Draymond's not like that. He's not a great rebounder.
I mean,
he doesn't put his body on the line.
He's not like that. I don't think like
Blake Griffin.
Dennis
later stage of his career.
I don't think of when I hear
he was like that.
I'm saying
when I hear Dennis Rodman, I don't think of Draymond.
I
think of like old school
Jeremy
defensive
Sochan
type rebounders, like a Dennis Rodman. Like Shaq was unbelievable.
Sean Holmes,
Bill Laimbeer, love that.
You're talking about old people. I'm just talking about
modern guys.
But I'm saying a modern guy would be like somebody like James Harden, no? I mean not James Harden, excuse me, Draymond Green, no?
I mean,
yeah, that's a good comp.
I guess, yeah. And he is villainized a lot, but also rightfully so because he does a lot of crazy stuff.
Because we ain't thinking about fucking Robert Williams when we think about a player like Dennis Rodman, no?
I mean, Robert Williams,
he's nice, but I'm just saying, what Dennis Rodman can do and how he affects the game and how he changes the game, that's somebody that Draymond is. Like, you don't realize it just because it's not that flashy three-point, shake them up shit. But it's just like when you get hard-nosed players like that, defensively, mentally tough, those are the type of guys I think of along the lines of Dennis Rodman. Obviously, he's not Dennis Rodman, but it's just like they do different
100%.
things.
I think maybe that's why I don't think of Draymond, because he does a lot more on the offensive side of the ball in terms of seeing the court, the IQ, where Dennis Rodman, I think of just guys who are mainly focused on the rebounding and the defensive side of the ball and will throw you in the paint, where Draymond can play around the key. He passes the ball very well. And he's not a domineering presence on defense in terms of his size like Dennis Rodman was, but he does.
Rodman wasn't that big.
Rodman was what, 6? Oh no, you're right.
I don't know how tall he was, but also the Dennis Rodman probably wouldn't exist or wouldn't be as big a star in today's NBA. I hate saying this, but like you can't really be like almost non-effective on offense and be a 20-minute per game night guy.
No, you're right. You're saying Dennis Rodman today wouldn't be effective.
I don't know, bro. I don't know.
No, because you gotta think that is a valid argument.
It would be.
It's a different game.
If he was maybe around the coaches that said like, bro, maybe work on your free throws a little bit. Here's how you do like a dribble handoff, the type of shit that the Warriors do. then he's such an intelligent player. I think he would have adapted with the game.
When you're playing with like MJ and Scottie Pippen, you have to fill in the gaps.
That is absolutely
true. So I think
true.
he knew what his role was, and
he's not taking shots.
So
from MJ.
If he played in today's era, would he be like a Birdman? Honestly, I mean, honestly, because you got to think about it. If you can't do anything offensively, right? When you're talking about cleaning up the boards and playing defense, like you're only subjected to this role, and then people don't look at you the same. So like that's why the big man now in today's game is kind of like non-existent.
Yeah.
So when you look at like somebody like Dennis Rodman and you see him running around, I don't know if we look at him the same, even though his stat line was fucking crazy. But it's just like
He would be one of those guys where it's like a matchup based thing, and then he'd come in and like play like big minutes for like every other game, and he'd be like diving for loose balls and like causing a ruckus, and all the fans would love him and be like, why doesn't this guy play more? And then the coaches would be like, oh no, we need the spacing. Me.
I think the closest thing to that would be Meta World Peace.
Yeah.
That's not a bad
defensively.
Take. He hit that 3 though.
Yeah, he hit that 3. But I'm saying like offensively, that's what you will want in terms of a guy that can do it both ways.
But Rodman, like back then also, like we're talking about the size too, what Colin brought up, like he was 6'7", so he had to overcome that type when there's a lot of big dudes by playing extra physical and being more scrappy. Like you said, he'll play every other game a lot of minutes, but then there are those games where he'll play 4 minutes. There's a reason for that. It's matchup based.
Does J-Body make you angry? Well, that's good. Let us know in the comments. Like and subscribe, baby.